Welcome everybody to the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for April 16th, 2020. Can I have a roll call, please? Here.
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 Are there any conflict of interest statements?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Item 4, approval of minutes of the meeting of March 19th, 2020.
I motion we defer the approval of the minutes of March 19th, 2020.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 5, essential matters before the board. Item A. Correspondence received from Chief of Police John Doty submitting the petitions for retirement of Sergeant Everett Logan, Sergeant Thomas Texter, and Lieutenant Michael Pimidowski. Relinquishment of specialty pay to Officer Daniel Mahoy. FTO specialty pay to Officers Stephen Otten, Arthur Latiker, Crystal Taylor, and Timothy Schultz, and promotional raise to Correctional Officer Zachary Retsky and Alan Paz. Do I have a motion accepting the police chief's request?
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
I'll second, Mr. President.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item B, emergency demolition hearing on property located at 436 Conkey Street.
Mr. President, before I turn it over to Mr. Kearney and Mr. Prieto, I just want to set the record regarding this. Specifically, this is a property located at 436 Conkey. The board, we would be requesting the board as a enforcement authority, as a hearing authority to ratify the request of the enforcement authority under the Unsafe Building Act statute. And their request is to move forward under Indiana Code 36-7-9-9 as an emergency action to protect either life, safety, or property. And I believe the board has been presented by several photos, including some drone photos that were taken by Mr. Kalina, or at least forwarded by Mr. Kalina to the board. I believe Mr. Kearney and Mr. Prieto will further describe the condition of the property and what action we believe needs to be taken immediately to preserve any safety. To limit the work on the immediate danger, which may include demolition of the whole structure, but I'll leave it to them to describe what needs to be done. And then we'll talk about how we're going to go about doing it if the board ratifies that action.
You want Mr. Kearney to jump in?
Thank you, Kevin.
Point?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Gentlemen, we got a call in the office yesterday from a grandmother walking her grandson down Conkey Street. She took a peek in the window, noticed his building roof had collapsed inside the structure into the basement. So it's not just to the ground level, it's below that. And because of that, the northern wall is bowed inward and is in danger of falling. It seems as it would fall into the structure. At the same time, I don't believe it could do that without causing some risk and safety issues to anyone on the sidewalk or possibly cars or whatever that may be parked in front of that. The drone photo shows it best. The roof on the northeast corner is completely collapsed. I believe the only thing that's holding the rest of the structure up is the chimney work that's done on the southern section of the building. It's hasn't been occupied for some time. We did have NIPSCO come out. Gas had already been cut, electric is cut, and water's been off for some time. It hasn't been occupied in a long time, not sure how long. There was a trust in the name of the trust that was contacted. The handler of the trust said they would send an email to the owner that the situation has happened. We have had no contact yet. So we do have it taped off, but I believe we may need to do more to ensure the safety of what's going on with this building, possibly pushing it in on itself. And do we want to go complete emergency demo and take everything out, or we want to go bids, or we want to give the owner time to step forward? I believe it's beyond saving. But Kevin and board, I'd like some guidance as far as how you prefer us to handle this.
I had a couple of questions, Kelly. First question is, where does it sit on the block? In other words, is it on a corner? Are there sidewalks on two sides or just on one?
On one. It's in the center of the block.
And what is on either side of it, to the east and west?
There's an auto yard next to it. It's got several cars in a fenced-in area immediately to the west. To the east, there is no structures, no property, and to the south, there's a large long distance before it gets to the alley. So, other than the west side and the north sidewalk, everything else seems to be safe.
And it sits on the south side of the block, right? It's even.
That's correct.
And you said the north wall was the wall that's in danger of collapsing. So that's the front wall?
Yes, the front wall. If you see the pictures, you can tell the bow, and it's significant, I believe, especially with the weather we've had, snow coming and such, that that wall is in danger of falling into itself.
And Kelly, is the danger of that wall collapsing, does that include towards the sidewalk? Because that's the north.
I would find it hard to believe that it would fall in on itself without some of the structure getting into the sidewalk. It is built right on the sidewalk. So as it may fall to the south and fall into the structure, I do believe that there will be portions of that would end up being on the sidewalk. That's taped off. And if people adhere to the tape, they would, I think we could minimize anybody going in. If they stay off the tape, I think they'll be safe. So I'm not against getting bids and putting this out, doing what we need to do to notify the owner. Is it immediate danger? I think if we tape it off and people adhere to the tape, we'll be fine.
Okay.
And if I could add something to Kelly's comments, this is Kevin Margraf here. I agree with Kelly that even if the top portion of the front of the building would fall in, I still think from the middle of the building down could get pushed out onto the sidewalk. I do agree with that. I looked at the building yesterday.
Okay. I'm going to see, do we have any photos that we can show? Does anybody know how to do that? I don't know if I can.
You can try.
Hold on a minute. Is that it?
Yeah, that is the
aerial view. Yes.
Yeah.
And so is that auto yard then to the
west?
Some kind of auto detailing, or used to sell cars there. Now it just seems to be overflow parking.
All right, Kelly, I don't know if you can see the screen.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, and I see there's like some barricade. Is that tape or barricades on the sidewalk?
Both.
And you can see the bowing of the north wall there?
That's what I was talking about, yes.
Okay, and someone smarter than me is going to have to know the answer to this, but given the fact that we're looking at maybe 2 to 5 inches of snow tonight, is that a concern as well?
Yes, definitely. And a northeast wind, pretty strong coming with that. So, yeah, it's a concern. Absolutely. I would suggest having maybe JM, local Hammond contractor that does all our demolitions, basically. If we want to take an emergency action and not remove the whole building, to take and push that building, that wall, the north wall, and probably that east wall too, and push it into the building itself. And start the emergency demolition. We can tape the building off from that point, basically make it safe for the sidewalk to be passed. And then the east wall, because it'd be unstable, up to where the roof is still intact.
Thanks, Kelly. Jaime, do you have anything else to add?
No, that's pretty much it. Coming, I guess, with the snow coming, yeah, I would agree with Kelly. And pushing that street-facing wall, which would be the north wall, pushing that in at least to have any danger, any bricks or whatnot thrown into the sidewalk or into any cars that are parked there, or into Conkey, even for that matter, for as much stress as being put on that front-facing facade.
Okay, thanks. I guess to the board, Mr. President and board, The request would be pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-9-9, in which it reads, if the enforcement authority finds it necessary to take emergency action concerning an unsafe premises in order to protect life, safety, or property, it may take that action without issuing an order or giving notice. However, this emergency action must be limited to removing any immediate danger. So I think what Mr. Kearney suggested would be the request of the city then to the board, which is to allow the enforcement authority, namely the inspections department, to move forward with JM to get that north and east wall down. And then in the meantime, we'll give notice for demolition or removal of everything. And that can take place hopefully also in the near future. But I would make sure, Kelly, that Public Works knows that they probably need to maybe move those barricades and really make that area safe with that sidewalk there and that car yard next door.
We can take care of that.
That'd be our request, Mr. President.
So, we're looking to make it as safe as possible in the immediate time frame, meaning we want to get the front pushed in. Is that right, Kelly?
The north wall and the east wall, basically the
Okay.
northeast corner of the building, push it in.
Okay. I just want to ask my board members if they've got any questions about what we've been discussing. Mr. Long or Mr. Perez?
I don't, Mr. President. I think we have to take that action at the very least.
Okay.
I agree,
Johnny?
Mr. President. I agree.
All right. Well, I mean, I'll entertain a motion to fulfill the city's request in regards to make this property as safe as we can in the short term.
Excuse me, Kevin.
Yes.
Just for a record, I did talk to JM yesterday. They're ready to move on it. Again, they're the local contractor that's been doing all our demolitions. I'll entertain, I will get estimates from other contractors for this emergency action. I'd like to have the permission to call JM and get their equipment on there and get this done as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'd say let the motion go forward and then we can go ahead and discuss that. I'll give you a call.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, board members, I'll entertain a motion to entertain the city's request.
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
I'll
I have a
second.
second.
I'll
All right,
second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So moved. Thank you. Item C, unless there's anything else, Mr. Smith?
No, sir.
All right. Item C, placement of a storage pod at 6265 Delaware Avenue from April 17th, 2020 to April 29th, 2020. April 17th is when? Tomorrow.
Yes, board. I was contacted by the owner of the property. Property address is 6265. He called in to ask if he can place a pod on the street. He will be moving, and he said it wouldn't be any more than 2 weeks. He actually told me about a week and a half. So we are asking that permission be given to the gentleman. I believe his name is Mr. Gonzalez, to have the pod on the street. He is aware that he needed to call in just so that way police, fire knows that there will be something there for at least a week and a half.
Dude, by the chance, did you do a visual at all? Is it going to be a hindrance to anyone who lives around there?
I did do a visual, and no, it will not be a hindrance. He lives right across the street from Gibson Park, so there will not be a hindrance at all.
Okay. All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the placement of the storage pod at 6265 Delaware.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 6, matters from board members. I have one. It is an order to rescind and order to demolish 903 Morris Street, Hammond, Indiana, garage only. Any discussion on this at all, Mr. Smith?
Yes, this was a self demo, and so we're just making sure that the property is released of any lien because the property owner took care of the demolition themselves. It was a garage.
All right, thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, President.
I have a second.
I second.
All those in favor in order of rescinding the order to demolish, say aye.
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 Aye. Anything else, Mr. Smith, at all?
No, sir.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make that motion.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.